Do you have the best job in the world?
Me? It's pretty good, but I don't know. I'm sure somebody else has it probably better.
Do you feel like, the jokes about backup quarterbacks and whatnot, but do you kind of feel like the pastor on Sundays and they don't know the work that kind of goes in the other 6 days?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that nobody ever sees, things that I got to do. Obviously teams play us differently. They're going to play me differently. They're going to play Cam. So I got to, be ready for, watch tape, other tape than we watch, than his regular stuff, just in case I get in there and just kind of go back and look and see how they've played guys that are a little less mobile.
When you see teams trying to trade for backup quarterbacks and an upgrade there, what Carolina's done here with keeping you here for so long, what do you think that means when you look around the rest of the league and see some of them scrambling?
Obviously, I'm very happy about it, but I think that's kind of part of the reason why I kind of signed the extension last year was the guys here are great. Being in the locker room is great. Going somewhere where you don't know, you don't have an idea of coaches, staff, everything is. At times it's a little nerve-wracking. I've been in places where you don't know guys, and here I know what the expectations are. I know my teammates, coaches. I've kind of just embraced that role of just helping our younger guys grow on the field. I really enjoyed, being out there on Thursday. Guys that haven't been in the game, I try to, keep things loose for those guys. Get them the ball and let them make plays.
I guess how the value of a backup quarterback, you think that's lost a lot of times? A lot of people don't understand just how valuable you guys can be.
Every organization looks at it differently. Every general manager looks at it differently. Some guys, ride with their guy, and if you put all their chips in that basket, and as we've seen, sometimes it comes back and bites them. But obviously, there's a value in it. Otherwise, they would just have one quarterback, right? But it's a lot harder on me than it is, than anybody really, I guess, knows. Yeah, it's not physically demanding, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it every week.
The series of times here where you've been a free agent, has it ever gone on long enough that you've fielded calls from other teams with an opportunity to go start something?
There were some, no, I don't, not as far as starting opportunities, but there were some, some talks between some other teams, but I kind of just told my guys, let's make sure we get something done here. I've told you guys before, it's the best locker room I've ever been in, the best group of guys that I've ever been around as far as coming in, day out, working. We got a lot of good young guys that really enjoy working, and it's not always the case. I think it's a testament to our older guys and making sure that, some of those guys are kind of on the fence of reeling those guys in and making sure that, things continue to grow and progress in the right direction.
Could this team have gone 15-1 last year if you were the quarterback?
Cam's pretty good. I don't know.
There had to be a point, though, where you kind of hit a threshold where you said, this is my lot, this is what I want to do, rather than go chase a starting job somewhere else. Do you kind of remember having that sort of discussion with yourself?
Not really.
Or your agent?
It's not been to me, it's I was on so many bad teams and been in some frustrating situations that why would I go somewhere where a lot of times you're going to a team that's been struggling? Why would I put myself in that situation when I can be in a situation with these guys, a good team, great staff? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not old, but I'm getting there, and I want to win football games. I want to have a chance to win a Super Bowl, and if it's not me playing, then that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'll be ready to go if I'm called upon, but I think just ultimately it's not. It's about winning football games more than less than me winning football games.
You guys still play hanging door basketball out here?
What's that?
Hanging door basketball. Did y'all transport that here?
Oh, little hoop. Yeah, we always have like a little tournament during training camp that the line runs. Currently, all 3 quarterbacks are still in it. I don't know if anybody cares, but we've got a big Elite 8 matchup coming up probably tonight after walkthrough.
There are 8 guys left.
Yeah, Benji and I got moved. We got flexed to Monday night, I think, so it's going to be a big one. I took JJ down in the Sweet 16. I was a 12 seed. He's a 4 seed. Kind of a big deal.
You were a 12 seed?
Yeah, I went out in the first round last year. I just wasn't focused.
So it rolls over. That's how it's seeded from last
Yeah,
year.
so they go in and they seed it, but it's kind of fun.
Are you allowed to dunk?
Nope, no athletic movements. We have a commissioner. Commissioner says whether or not it's a legal shot or not. Something that I think they've been doing here for a long time. I know at my first year they were doing it.
Did you implement the rule of no athletic moves?
No, yeah, I let those guys kind of say the rules and I just go by them. We have our own rules in our quarterback room, which don't carry over to the team rules. So they're
2 athletic quarterbacks, so does that help you? That
3 athletic quarterbacks actually. Obviously, my athletic ability is far more superior than you're giving me credit for.
Who's the commissioner?
Ryan is. Ryan's the commissioner. Rookies are kind of in charge of organizing it, putting up. Make sure you got to have a good board. You know, board has to be proper. That calligraphy, writing, you know, all the good stuff. A lot of stuff that goes into it.
Who were the 4 number 1 seeds?
I don't know. I didn't even honestly look at it. I hadn't even practiced until I had to go against JJ. I was like, I better get some shots up because when we're in meetings, JJ's getting shots up. So.
Dia, what type of enjoyment do you get seeing the young guys that you help when they get their opportunities and they actually perform well?
It's a lot of fun for me. You know, like I said, I try to in the huddle try to keep it loose with those guys because I understand. I've been there. It's stressful. I mean, it's stressful for a lot of those guys. They've never been in that situation. They've never had an opportunity, and you know, especially like the guys that we went through the whole spring together. You've seen them grow. You've seen them go through days where it's like all their coaches just on them all day, and then it's kind of like a little bit of a reprieve to get on the field and play and not have anybody screaming at you besides me. But sometimes I always warn them ahead of time. I was like, I might get mad at you during the game, but I promise I don't not like you. Afterwards, we'll hug it out. But you know, they for the most part, I think the guys that were with me did a good job. It's nice to see those guys get in there and kind of be able to just play and not have to, worry about Coach Hayner telling them, where they need to be, and he does a great job with those guys. But sometimes he's very demanding, and it is fun. It's fun for me.
What was the main issue, if you could pinpoint it, with the line? It seemed like there was a lot of pressure through the middle. I know you got some pressure on the side, on the edges.
I mean, I think a lot of it's just communication. Making sure they're talking to each other, understanding where we're going, which direction we're going. And taking individual pass sets is a lot different. In a team setting, guys are they're not finishing to the quarterback, so those guys aren't really worried. In practice, they're not worried about the guy getting to us. First game, I think for the most part they did quite well. I think Coach Masco would probably say something different, but I think for the most part they did a good job.
That's one of my questions is, now that you've had an exhibition game, especially for a lot of the young guys, as you said, for getting their feet wet, how does this help shape practice, training camp going forward? Because coaches now have a teaching tool, I guess, to sort of fall back on, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go kind of analyze it and look at it from the good and the bad, and it does help, but I think for those guys more than anything, it kind of is going to change the way you practice. For me, at least, when I was a young guy, you go into a preseason game your first couple times, it's like, whoa, hang on a second, and then you get to practice, and then practice slows down, and then you can really start kind of worrying about your skill and your craft and understanding what to do on the field, opposed to, okay, now that's out of the way. The anticipation of that first preseason game for the young guys is and can be a little stressful.
Back on the basketball, and I'm sure you told us this before, but remind me the genesis of the celebration with Cam on the fadeaway jump.
I don't even remember how it started. It literally was like It's me, him, and Jimmy. I don't even remember how the whole thing. I remember we worked the Euro thing in, and apparently we can't do anything anymore because I can't go on the field unless you have the keys to the car. So I was unaware of that, actually, that coaches can't go on the field. We can't go out there to, like, even talk during a timeout. Like, that's new to me. So.
You also can't during a pick six.
Well, yeah, that's frowned upon, I believe.
How many yards on did it? We didn't really.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I still have never seen it. I don't think it's on TV either, so that's probably good.